Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Balance Blonde podcast, Soul on Fire. I'm your host, Jordan Younger, and on this podcast, we talk about all sorts of things from spirituality to creativity to awakening psychically to astrology to living your best soul on fire life. And I feel so lucky to get to interview people who've been inspiring me for years. And I also do a lot of solo episodes, and I have my husband on and my family. So we just have a lot of fun on this podcast. What can I say? It's my favorite place to be. And I kind of transitioned the way that I've done this podcast in recent months to just have so much fun with it and to kind of stop making it feel like work, because this started as a hobby, as a passion, like all things that I've ever started have started that way. And then it became my full-time job. And then it started to feel like work. And now I've brought it back to just fully feeling like so much fun, like something that I would do if it was work or not. And I get to have the coolest conversations with people who I have been legitimately obsessed with for years. So I'm very, very, very picky with my guests for that reason. You'll never hear somebody on this podcast who's just on their PR book tour or somebody who's going on every single podcast saying the same thing. I only have people on the podcast who I'm super excited to talk to and to share with you guys. So this conversation is no exception. I'm thrilled to have Trevor Hall and his wife, Emery Hall, on today's episode of the show. So fun story here. I've been listening to Trevor Hall's music since I was 14 years old, and Lime Tree, his amazing song, which I'm sure so many of you have heard, one of his most famous songs, was played in my yoga studio in Sacramento. And it was like the first time that I felt so seen in my soul. And I really felt like whoever wrote this song and is singing this song is tapped into something deeper in the universe. And this was way before I had any kind of spiritual awakening or even spiritual inklings of any kind. But Trevor's music made me feel just something ignite in my soul. And I've been such a fan of his ever since, through all of his albums and all of his songs and everything he's ever released. I am just such a big fan. And years ago, probably 3.5 years ago, Jonathan asked me on the podcast, if you could manifest one person on the show, who would it be? And I said, Trevor Hall. Trevor Hall is my ultimate. I need to have him on the show. And lo and behold, Trevor and I had some mutual friends, and he was able to come on the show for the first time, probably close to 3 years ago now or more. And then he came on again. And this is his third time back. And it's such an honor to have him on. And then his beautiful wife, Emery, she is featured on his album, his latest album, In and Through the Body. She sings on the album. She has a beautiful, angelic voice. And she is just a beautiful, angelic person. She's a photographer and she is a writer, and her words are like poetry. Like, you guys will fall in love with what she said in this episode. So I've been dying to chat with her. I feel like she's a long lost soul sister of mine. And she came on for probably the last 20 or 30 minutes of this conversation with Trevor, where we talk all about the creative process, his new album, In and Through the Body. We talk about human design. We go deep into Trevor's human design and Emery's human design. That's a lot of fun. We talk about, I love hearing Trevor's creative process for writing songs and how he's been dealing with everything going on in the world right now and what it's like releasing an album and not being able to go on tour. So we get into all of it. I could talk to Trevor and Emery for hours. They're so fun. I just feel like they are family to me now in my heart, and nothing has ever made me happier. So I'm so excited to share this conversation with you guys. I know so many people listening are huge Trevor Hall fans, just like myself. So I think it'll be fun for you guys to hear Trevor just chatting. He is so down to earth, and he has a lot of wisdom to share, and so does his beautiful wife. I'm so grateful for them, so happy to have them on. So before we get into the episode, I would love to, first of all, remind you that if you feel inspired to rate and review the podcast on iTunes, I send out a free gift to everyone who rates and reviews. So all you have to do is rate and review, send me a screenshot to jordan@thebalancedblonde.com, and I will thank you by sending you my free yoga ebook. And I love connecting with you there, talking to you. I love seeing who listens to the show and putting a face to the name. So whenever you tag me on Instagram, I always repost, respond. I just love connecting with all you guys so much. So listen to the episode, rate and review, send us some love, tell us who's listening. Before we get into this conversation, we have a brand new sponsor, and I am so excited about this sponsor. I think you guys are going to be so excited too, because this is a brand that I feel like everybody is equally obsessed with right now. And if you haven't tried it yet, you have to. It's so good. The brand is Olipop. Olipop is a healthy soda. And I've never liked soda, so we're talking like actual healthy. True healthy soda. It is so delicious and it is so good. And there are tons of health benefits. And before we get into the health benefits specifically, I just want you guys to know that you can go to drinkolipop.com/blonde to shop at a discount. That is drinkolipop.com/BLONDE to shop all of their delicious flavors at a discount. So a couple things that I love about Olipop is that there are 8 to 9 grams of fiber per can, completely non-GMO, gluten-free, paleo, very low sugar, microbiome approved and plant-powered, so totally vegan, totally plant-based, and it's very low sugar, so only 2 to 5 grams per can. So basically everything that's needed to be TBB approved, it is very much TBB approved. Not to mention, it is soda and it is healthy, you guys. So they have so many delicious, nostalgic flavors like vintage cola, classic root beer, orange squeeze, cherry vanilla, and strawberry vanilla. My personal favorite flavor is the classic root beer. So when I was little, root beer was the only soda that I liked. I would have a root beer float. I would go to the local ice cream shop with my mom, crack open a root beer, pour it over vanilla ice cream, and be in heaven. And that's what I'm doing now with Olipop. So Olipop is super low sugar, just like I said, with no added sugar at all. And just so you know, in a regular soda, like a regular can of Coca-Cola, there are 39 grams of sugar. Orange Fanta has 44 grams of sugar. That is stuff I would recommend everybody stay away from. But the cool thing is you can enjoy the nostalgia and the deliciousness and have this fun beverage with the health benefits, which is incredible. It's a healthy alternative to soda. It tastes so, so good. And our special deal for TBB listeners is 20% off plus free shipping, which is absolutely huge, on their best-selling variety packs. You can try all the flavors. This is a great way to try all the delicious flavors and pick your fave. Go to drinkolipop.com/blonde or use the code blonde at checkout to claim this deal. That is DRINKOLIPOP.com/blonde. And this discount is only valid for the variety pack. Olipop can also be found in 3,000 stores across the country, including Whole Foods, Sprouts, Kroger, Wegmans, and Erewhon. So all of my fabulous Los Angeles people, you guys can go to Erewhon, find Olipop. And one other thing is that it is amazing for gut health. So whether you take probiotics or eat probiotic or fiber-rich foods, you will love that Olipop supports a healthy microbiome thanks to the prebiotics, botanical extracts, and 9 grams of plant fiber in each can. 95% of American adults don't get enough fiber. So imagine you can drink this healthy alternative to soda and get your fiber. It is so delicious. I think a lot of you guys know I've suffered with my gut health. I've had a lot of gut issues over the years, and drinking Olipop every day, getting my fiber and my prebiotics in, is the best way to do it. It's so delicious. Jonathan's obsessed. I'm obsessed. So go to drinkolipop.com/blonde to claim that special offer. And as always, you can also find the link in the show notes. Now, let's head into this episode with Trevor and Emery. This is your third time on the podcast, which is so amazing.
Oh, wow. I thought it was, oh, yeah, I guess you are right. Third time.
You came
Right?
on with just you, and then you came on
Yeah.
with Deb to talk about astrology.
Right.
She's hysterical.
Yeah, she is. And then, okay, so this is my third time.
Yeah, this is your third time. And
Okay,
it's so cool because I've been listening to your music since I was 14. And
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
really, okay, so especially with this new album, I was telling Jonathan, like listening to your new album and having the chance to know you now.
Uh-huh.
We have such close mutual friends with Krista,
Yeah.
Clay. I was telling Jonathan, the 14-year-old me would die. Would think this was, and it is. I still think it's the coolest thing in the world. But to look back and think of me in a yoga studio listening to your songs, this is like the deepest, most beautiful music I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you.
And then to have the chance to talk to you now is just so cool.
Yeah, I love moments like that, kind of full circle moments. So
it's so cool to see how everything comes full circle. You're such a cool person. You're such a down to earth person.
Well, you don't know me. You don't know me I guess you haven't seen all my shadows yet. You be careful what you say.
I get it. No, but that to me, that is what makes you a cool person.
Oh, thank you.
You have a multitude of layers and you're funny and we all have that. And you put that into your music.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So what's been new? Tell us about 2020 for you. It's been such a crazy
what a year, right? Oh gosh. The year started off, we were on the East Coast visiting some family. Oh, the year started off I was really, really sick. I almost kind of wouldn't be surprised if I had an COVID or something, because I was really sick. I had what I thought was a flu,
Right.
But then, we came back home here to Colorado, and it was all about the album. That was the kind of the beginning of the year. It was okay, how are we going to do this album? Because I had all these songs. I had 35 songs or something. And it was are you going to do it alone, or are we going to do it with another producer, or what? And it wasn't really clear. And in October, a little bit before, I went out to Ohio with my band because my band lives out there. A few of the guys live out there, and my drummer has a studio there, and we recorded 4 songs out there. And it was kind of a test, do we feel comfortable doing this alone or by ourselves, whatever. And it was an awesome experience. A few of the songs on the album were My Own and Never Gonna Break Your Heart. Those 2 songs were recorded in Ohio. So we had this kind of, dipping our toe in the water. Okay, can we do this? And it all felt good, but I personally was I just want to make sure, that some other person or whatever can't push us to higher, push us to a higher bar or whatever.
Right.
And if not, great, we'll record it on our own. I feel great. I just want to make sure, And we reached out to Bon Iver's producer, Brad Cook, who I'm a big fan of, and I didn't really expect to get a reply back. I just thought oh, they're way up here, type thing. And he replied, and in February, right in the beginning of the year, I went out to North Carolina for 3 days just to meet him, and we just kind of created, just made music together. And I knew right away, I was oh my gosh, I need to do the record with you.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of that, it was, and the COVID thing really hadn't come in too heavy yet, so we were just focusing on, we're going to record this out and then we're going to go on tour. And that was our plan. And then everything just kind of you know?
Yeah, everything changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of my questions was like, so you wrote and you recorded most of this before COVID, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I have a little setup here at home and I make a lot of like demos, and if I have different ideas, I just, flush them out here on my like humble little setup. And that's why I had like 35, demos. And that's what I took to North Carolina. And we kind of just dissected through all of them and decided, okay, which ones are the ones that really give us that feeling. Yeah. So a lot of it was kind of made here, like, or I guess the bones, you could say the bones. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was wondering if this was like a COVID project because
Yeah.
you're home and like I'm sure
Right.
you had such a creative, or I'm curious if you've had such a creative time because there's
Yeah.
nowhere to be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, being a touring musician, we're always moving. And when we're not moving, we're thinking about when we're moving again, So it's always like going, going, going. And COVID has really, it's been a blessing in the sense of, and I hesitate to use that word blessing because I know how much pain it's caused so many folks, but it's been a blessing in that sense of truly making us stop and really just getting grounded and rooted and reevaluating so many things and reflecting on so many things, not just musically, just in our lives. And as a result of being home so much, I have been like so creative because I've had the time, to just kind of let myself go. Okay, you have nowhere to be. Like, let's put our energy in here. So that part has been a big blessing, but obviously it's a bittersweet feeling because so many people in our industry, specifically in the music industry, entertainment industry, are really just suffering so much, taking a big hit, not
Right.
to mention everybody, in the world in some degree.
It's
So,
true.
yeah.
Yeah. So what's it like releasing an album and not being able to tour? I'm sure, like you said, that was a huge part of the plan. That's what you've
Yeah.
always done. So
Yeah.
is it
Yeah.
super
We had the
different?
whole tour set up and everything. It's a whole new world. It's so funny because no matter how many times you record a record or how many times you've been doing this, it's always different no matter what. And in it's been fun in the sense that it makes us, okay, let's be creative. How can we get this out without being out on the road? Uh,
Yeah.
and that part has been quite fun, and it's been cool because I've always been such a visual person, and I've always really loved music videos or other creative ways to express your music. And I've never had the time to do that because we record the album and we're on the road. So it's been really cool to have the time to just have different ideas and focus on areas that we normally wouldn't have the time to. So our game plan, I guess, a game plan, whatever, is just to like continue to put out content to make beautiful offerings, as much as we can, because I feel like that's the only thing we really can do.
Right.
And so right now we're really focusing on a lot of different like music videos and visuals that are, coming out over time, and just putting our energy there and seeing what happens, and just surrendering to, hey, when it's okay to get out there and tour again, we will. But until that time, let's not stop, let's pivot and keep on going.
I know I was excited when I saw that little mini music video of you in the white clothes, and that
Oh
was
yeah.
so cool. It
Yes,
was so
those were like, we're
beautiful.
trying to do like these, like, we call them meditations, but they're like visual accompaniments. And
Yeah.
I'm actually like this week we're going out to the mountains again to try to do a few more, but we're trying to just anything just to again provide additional flavors, for
Yeah.
to the album.
I
Yeah.
think it's so cool. And
Oh,
it is
good.
kind of fun to do things differently. I mean, I know it's a bummer with the touring, and obviously
Right.
I hope those things will come back soon
Right.
enough. But it's cool that you're finding new ways to be creative.
Yeah. I think that's important for all, creative people, for all artists.
Yeah.
We have to always be flexible in whatever medium of art we're creating in, because that's what that's what makes a good artist, I think. Just to be inspired by the times, whether those times are good or bad, I think is,
Yeah.
yeah, important.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. It's true. We're always going to go through tough times, difficult times, and to transmute that into something artistic and beautiful, that is
Right.
kind of the artist's job.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So when it comes to the name of this album, I love the name. And
Oh, good.
how did you choose that? Like, how did it come to you? What was
It's
the
a good
process?
story. I mean, going into an album, I try not to think very much. I try to let the songs speak for themselves and kind of formulate their own whatever project, because like I said, we had like 35 songs in the beginning. So we had to really kind of weed out a lot of different things. And again, I don't really worry about, oh, does this fit with this and that? It just kind of naturally happens. And then like the message really kind of reveals itself, and then the name comes. But with this album, I was like a little bit worried because nothing was really coming to me for the name, or that would kind of encompass the theme of the album. I knew the theme, but I was like, gosh, what is the name going to be? And I was kind of getting a little pressure from, my management, like, yo, we got to start on artwork. We got to like, and I'm like, oh God, you know, and, I originally wanted to call it Blue Sky Mind, but while that phrase is so cool and does give information, I guess, into the project, it didn't encompass the whole project. And I was like, okay, and thinking, whatever. And then we were on the Zoom call with this Indian teacher of ours and a group of people, and she was kind of giving a lesson and like this. And in the call, she was talking about this. The teacher that was with her was talking about the path that we're on, the quest for the self or whatever. And she said that she was talking about not denying our humanity and not denying our human emotions and all this stuff. And I was listening to her and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. This is like kind of what my album was like. And then she said, our path is in and through the body. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's it. I was like, I'm stealing that. And it came to me like just in time, because we were really kind of up against the wall with deadlines and stuff. And yeah, it just fits the whole project so perfectly. I'm just so grateful that came to me.
Yeah, absolutely. It does fit
Yeah.
it so perfectly. It fits it so well.
Yeah.
Your whole album reminds me of like, people have called it, like all my friends have listened to it, like a therapy session. It's like therapy to listen to the song. And it really is meditative and therapeutic. So is that your process with writing it? Like, I mean, I know you said you had 35 songs. Now there's what, 16?
16,
Yeah.
which is a big album, these days. Usually albums these days are like 10 or 12 songs. And I've always been a fan of smaller albums because I just feel like we don't have as big of a attention span. But it just happened that way. Music is just healing for me, regardless. So I think that it's not like I'm trying to write healing music or I'm trying to have the songs be like a therapy for other folks. It's just that it naturally is so healing for myself. And that's just what I think comes out, when I'm writing, it's not it's not a thing of I want to write this type of song or I want to write that type of song or anything. It's a place of like no mind, and that's why I think it's so refreshing for me. So it's not like an intention, I guess. I try to have no intentions, I try to just be completely clear. And a lot of the times I feel like the songs are like singing to me. So it's really what they want to do.
Yeah.
I try to keep my ego out of it. And it's kind of ironic because it's like the whole project's Trevor Hall and like you're the face of, no, Trevor, but it's so funny because I feel like it's just not me at all. It's just it's so funny. It's so interesting.
It is. Well,
Yeah.
you're tapped into something greater than you, and
Mhm.
that flow, that
Mhm.
like universal flow. And I think
Right.
that's the goal, is to tap into that flow for anyone who's creative and
Mhm.
trying to create something. So how do you do that? Like, do you ever get blocked from doing that?
Oh God, too much. Too many times. And when I'm blocked, I'm like such like a butthead. Like I'm just so like my whole world is like ah. I don't really have like a method. If I did, I would be in it all the time,
Right.
you know? So, but that's really beautiful because it really teaches me like surrender, and just surrendering to something greater than myself. And it's not up to me when these songs appear and, and when they don't want to appear, it's up to them, and I respect them so much, that I just surrender to that, to their timing.
Mhm.
um, I like have so many freakouts, it's like if I'm like stuck in like a block, I'm like, oh my God, I'm never gonna be able to write a song again. My life's over, whatever. I'm like so dramatic. And then like the next day, like some song comes through and it's just a miracle. You're just like, gosh, how did these keep coming? I don't know, but I'm just so grateful because I know that it can stop at any time. It's really up to them. That's my view.
Yeah.
But usually, like, to kind of answer your question, I usually have to kind of be alone. That's like the number one. It's a very lonely process for me, not in a negative way. It's just I really have to be with myself and just kind of in a place of, yeah, loneliness. And that's when they seem to come. If I'm around like so many people, I almost can't hear myself. I can't hear them, and it just doesn't work. But that's kind of only the main, like, I guess, prerequisite, I guess, for them coming through.
Yeah. I can relate to that with writing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how it goes. If I'm
Yeah.
around
You have to be
people,
alone.
I have to be alone,
Yeah.
and I have to be around nature, and
Mm.
like even kind of being in the city, being in LA can be very energetically just
Mhm.
distracting.
Right. For sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's like, I don't necessarily have to be in nature, but I can be in like the weirdest places, but if I'm alone, sometimes they come through and that's that,
Yeah.
uh, but it's just that act of surrender. I think that's most important, you know,
Yeah.
and no expectation,
Do you
yeah.
know what your human design type is? Did we talk about this?
Oh no, I think Emery knows my human design type. I'm
Okay.
not familiar with it. Can you do it for me?
Yeah. You know what time you were born?
I do.
Okay, so let's look it up. This will be fun.
Okay,
Because
I'm into it.
we're talking about the creative process, and human design is so intertwined with the creative
Uh,
process and like strategy. Let's see here. We're going to the human design website. This is so fun.
oh
Um,
God.
it's so
You can
fun.
tell them all my secrets.
Yes. Well, actually, of course, you know what time you were born. You're such an astrology guy. Okay, so remind me your birthday.
It's 11/28.
Okay. November.
Yeah, November 28.
And the year.
86.
86. Oh, yeah. You're the same age as my husband.
Oh, cool.
Time.
7:07 a.m.
Oh, I love that with the sevens. And then location.
Greenwich, Connecticut.
All right. Love it. Greenwich, Connecticut. I'm so excited. View your chart. You are a generator. And
I think that was. Yeah. What does that mean?
so you're an emotional generator.
That's for sure.
That's your authority. Your profile is 1-3, which is the establisher of knowledge and truth. Your digestion profile is hot food. Do you like to eat hot food?
Oh, that's weird. I do not like cold food at all. Anything uncooked. Like, I'm a vegetarian, but I don't really like salad. Like, I'm like, ugh.
Right. Yeah, you like the hot food. Well,
yeah, I think hot food.
Fully in alignment with your human design profile.
That's so crazy.
Environment, there's like a best environment for each person. Yours is the caves, which is places where you can choose who you're around, such as your home or social settings you have some control over.
Wow, that's so interesting. That's very spot on.
It's always spot on. I'm telling you, I've never seen anything. I mean, astrology is amazing, but I've never seen anything like human design.
Wow, it's very interesting.
And you're a generator. So you are basically like the life force energy, the people who are here to lift the energy of the world. You're very self-generated, which makes sense because you can produce, like, you just, make your whole album. You write all the songs.
Right. Yeah,
all
that's
you
cool.
kind of do is be alone. It's so cool.
Caves. I like that. The caves.
You're a caves person.
I like that.
I know. When Emery comes,
it made me feel bad. I do like to really be. I am, even though I'm on the stage and all this stuff, I am quite introverted.
Right. Yeah. And it sounds like you're totally aligned. I'm curious what Emery's human design is. We'll ask her when she comes in because.
Yeah, I think I know her. Yeah, we can ask her when she comes in.
Yeah. You're the same as Jonathan, my husband. He's an emotional generator also.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
You guys are pretty special.
That's so cool.
I know.
I got to look more into that. That's very, very cool.
I'll send you the info. Let's take a brief interruption from this conversation to talk about hair care. So who is into taking care of their hair in a natural way and also finding something that is completely custom for you? So I've struggled for a long time with my hair because I have very, very fine hair. It is like so fine. I cannot hardly ever wash my hair without having to brush it forever. This has been an issue. It makes me never, ever want to wash my hair. I also have pretty oily hair, so I do have to shower, wash my hair pretty often. And I've been struggling to find a natural shampoo and conditioner that is specific to my hair for a long time. So I'm excited because I finally found a very personalized experience for hair, which is Function of Beauty, which I'm very excited about. And I think you guys are going to love it too. So I always vet all of the products that I try so that I make sure they are amazing before I tell you guys about them. And I, of course, always get you guys a special deal. So if you've ever watched those commercials with women letting down their soft, silky hair, but you don't get the same results from the bottle, you need a better solution. And it probably means you need a solution that is specific for you. Function of Beauty is hair care that is formulated specifically for each person who orders. So no matter whether you have fine hair, curly hair, straight hair, oily, dry, you take a very specific quiz that goes down to the nitty-gritty when it comes to your hair. Like, I was answering questions on their quiz that I didn't even think would matter. But of course, once I got my custom blend in the mail, I realized this makes so much sense. They needed to know all these details so that they could formulate the perfect formula for me. And then it comes in the cutest bottle with the cutest branding. You can choose what it says on it. So I put the Balance Blonde on mine. You can name yours and give it a little nickname. Plus, their formulas are vegan and cruelty-free. They never use sulfates, parabens, or any other harmful ingredients. And you can also choose how natural you want to go with it. So, of course, I chose super extra natural because that is my choice. But you can also choose how important that is to you, or if you really need like a heavy duty conditioner, that's an option too. And what is so cool is that Function of Beauty is not only the first ever custom hair care brand, it is the internet's top rated customized hair care brand with over 40,000 real 5-star reviews and counting. So what are you waiting for? Go to functionofbeauty.com/blonde to take your 4-part hair profile quiz and save 20% off on your first order. That is functionofbeauty.com/blonde for 20% off, and to let them know that you heard about it through this show. Functionofbeauty.com/blonde to enjoy that 20% off. You guys will enjoy. I cannot wait to hear what you think. Tag me on Instagram. Like I said, their branding is so cute, and you can put your own name on the bottle. It's amazing. Now let's get back into this episode with Trevor and Emery. On your album, this album, do you have a favorite song?
Yeah, they're all special, obviously, but and they can kind of rotate, but the two songs that have just been like the songs for me have been Without Expectation, which is the second track, and Con, which is the second to last track, which is kind of funny.
That is funny.
Yeah. Without Expectation is just special to me because it was the first song that I made with Brad from scratch, and it was the first day I met him. And so it's kind of like sentimental in that regard because we really formed a beautiful brotherhood. And so it kind of just represents to me that first spark of creativity. But the song just like sonically, like it always, if I'm listening to it, I put it on, I feel like it just puts me like in a state of joy. And that was one of the overwhelming themes of this recording process was I was so joyful. Whereas in other album processes like The Fruitful Darkness or even Chapter of the Forest, like I was always kind of going through some type of struggle or like, and or finding and being intense, like The Fruitful Darkness, like, I'm figuring things out, whatever. Whereas this album, even though there are certain songs that have to do with perhaps kind of intense things, they're expressed in like a joyful way. And I feel like Without Expectation kind of sets the tone. And it's just a song that really just puts me in a very particular mood. And then with Con is really interesting because that song I made here after we recorded. And which was so interesting about the album experience was, we recorded in like March, I think. And when we record, or when I'm recording an album, I am like kind of pretty shut off to the world. Like it's really hard for me to like put my attention anywhere else because I'm just so much energy is going into this creative process. So I don't really pay attention to anything outside. And, I was there for a month and COVID was really kind of like getting pretty intense, but we were just so in this cave of creative, this creative process that I didn't really get to pay attention to it. And when I finished the record, or the recording part of it, and flew back to Colorado, I went to the airport and like all these people were in masks in the airport. And I'm like, what's going on? Like I know, like I was like so out of it. And then I was like, holy shit, I got like, this is crazy.
Yes.
I flew back here and like 3 days later, like 4 days later, the kind of like quarantine like thing happened. I was like, whoa,
Wow.
And I was at the house. I was still on such a high from being with Brad and creating the album, I was still like so floored, and I had all this creative energy, and I was really thinking about our impermanence and this kind of thing that's come and has affected our whole world. And Khan just spit out of me, and it just, I don't know, it's just a song again that just puts me in such a mood, just such a meditation. Whereas Without Expectation is kind of just this joy, and Khan is just a complete like, whew, just sits me in like a certain meditation. So those two have always been kind of like my go-tos on the album, but it can change. It can always change.
For sure. Oh, I love hearing that. Con is my favorite.
I love that.
I last weekend I microdosed a little bit of mushrooms and like went out on a walk by myself, and I listened to that song 100 times. I want to listen to anything else. I was like laying in the grass, looking at the trees, and I just microdose sometimes for my creative process and just takes away my pain from Lyme. It's amazing. And looking up at the trees, playing that song, I felt so good. I felt so happy. And the words are so beautiful, talking about the soul.
Yeah.
I mean, you know the words better than I do, but like...
No, the words really, I mean, they speak to me. You know, they really speak to me.
The dances, that part, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. It's just about that space of being seated in an eternal place, you know, within, where those highs, the lows, the changing weather, all these things, everything is moving, everything is changing, you know, but there is a place within us. We all know this. There is a place within us that is eternally unchanging and is eternally present, you know. And it's when we identify with things other than that really cause us joy and sorrow and pain, like this, you know. But the word Khan is so interesting because it's the horns that are sampled on that are from it's the instrument's called a shanai, and it's a beautiful Indian instrument. And the player, the main guy of the shanai in India, he's passed away. His name was Bishmillah Khan. And so I originally just called it Khan because I was sampling his, you know, playing. But the word Khan is like a royal name. It's like royalty, like kingly. And it's so funny how I just kept it that name because it is about that space. It is about that royal place within, you know, that is totally just eternal and unaffected. But I'd like to take some mushrooms and listen to that song.
I highly recommend it. You should. It's so peaceful.
I haven't taken mushrooms in so long. I don't know if that'd be a good idea.
I know. Maybe just the tiniest bit. All I need is like the littlest.
A suggestion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I came home and I told Jonathan, this song is the best thing I've ever heard.
Oh man, it's so crazy.
It constantly. It's so beautiful.
Cool. Yeah, so many people have actually reached out to me about that song in particular, and I really didn't expect it.
Yeah.
It's
a special one. It's special. Yeah, I was going to ask you, is there a song that you can tell is like the hit, like the one that everybody's talking about on the album?
It's so funny because we always get it wrong. We always, you know, when we're kind of deciding as a team, you know, management and whatever it may be, what's the singles we're going to put out like this. It's always quite funny because we never seem to pick the one that people are most into. Like, for instance, on Chapter of the Forest, we like Wishman was our big single, or like Haleakala or something, but like Green Mountain State is like our most streamed song on
ever. That's like such a
we never paid attention to that for, you know, so it's just funny, you know. So with this album, I don't know if there's like, I mean, to be honest, the song that most people have come to me with is Con. They're like, oh, this song is my favorite one, you know. But I never would expect that to be like the song.
Yeah, it surprised you. That's really cool.
Yeah, and that's the fun part about it. You know, that's the fun part about it. Yeah, but yeah, it's just really wild how so many people like that tune. And it's at the end of the record, so you know, not a lot of people make it that far.
Yes, true.
So it's just cool that people are you know, getting
people are listening to the whole thing. So the song Fire on Your House, that's a song that's like so different from your usual song. A lot of like
it is.
What inspired that song?
That was a big discussion on this journey. That was a very talked about topic because I had no intention of releasing that song. You know, I very much wrote that song for my own, just kind of healing and like just to let out just anger, to be honest. And, you know, when I don't know where to begin here. It's so wild because I'm still like unpacking it all. It was a very like deconstructive moment for me, if that makes sense, because I feel like I've been doing this for so long. You know, I started so young, and as time's gone on, I've been kind of, you know, this persona is formed, you know, from people's opinions and how you express yourself and all this stuff. And then what happens is it's kind of like I have to stay within this persona. I can't step out of this persona, right? Because it'll let people down or it will not be what they want or think, you know, and you start to put these walls around you, you know, and it doesn't have to be like with artistry. It can just be in anybody's life, you know. We create these personas of how we see ourselves and we somehow get trapped inside them. I didn't want to release this song because I was attached to my persona of Trevor Hall, the spiritual, loving, whatever singer. You know? Like I didn't want to. It was like it's not that I didn't want to. It's just like I felt like I'm not allowed to do that, right? And that's why I didn't want to release it. And then I shared it, you know, with Emery and like a few friends like Krista and Clay and my manager. And all of them were like, you have to release this song. And I was like, no way, like, can't do it, you know? And they're like, no, you have to do it. And it was this kind of back and forth. Should we do it? Should we not? Whatever. Then I went to North Carolina and Brad heard it. And Brad said the same thing. He was like, you have to do it. And Brad, he said, you know, this album is all about, I was like, I think I said, I can't put it out because it doesn't fit like whatever my, again, persona. And he's like, but it came from you. He was like, it's you. And I was like, fuck, yeah, you're right, you know? And then this whole album is about humanness and how humanness is divine and how there isn't really a separation. And I wanted to be honest in all aspects of my person. And I realized that even if it's uncomfortable and even if it scares me that people will be like, what the heck is this? Whatever. I needed to do this. I needed to like step out and break down these walls of like being misunderstood, you know? So it was like a really like interesting process for me. But the song particularly like is really about, you know, trust being broken and me being treated like I felt very unfairly, and especially within the music business, you know, growing up being so young and going through so many different experiences that really hurt my heart, you know, and hurt my person. I never really properly expressed those things, you know, because again, I felt like I wasn't allowed to do that, you know.
Right.
And it just got to this point, you know, where it was just like, I need to let this out, and that's kind of what the song is about. Obviously, I was very upset, but
Totally.
but it was a really, I'm really happy that I did do it, even though I was very nervous and it scared me and the whole thing, because it really kind of just helped me like just be who I am, or just like be more comfortable with like just, I don't know. I'm still unpacking it, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely a heavy hitter.
it is. That's so cool. I mean, I think I can definitely relate to that, having that image of what people see you as. And then, you're a full human with a range of emotions, and
Right.
you can be spiritual and you can be angry. And I think to have that come from you is so powerful and probably helps a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I did get a lot of like very supportive comments, so that was really, really like cool to hear.
Yeah, I
And
was
even
gonna.
the negative comments, even the comments that were like, "Oh, this isn't like you," or like whatever, that was also good because I knew I'm shattering something, which was kind
True.
of the intention of the whole thing. So it was a good experience.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. So when you
Yeah.
do get negativity and negative comments and stuff, is that typically your approach? Just like, what is your approach to negativity?
Oh Lord.
Really
it's
hard.
been it's been a year with that. I don't know if it's just like COVID and people are quarantined and bored, and or people are just frustrated and whatever, but like this year I've never gotten so many like negative comments before. And like hurtful comments, not just like negative comments,
But
like,
what do people possibly say to you? You
oh my God, you would be so like so many things. I just can't even like think about it. It depends on the situation, but just stuff that is honestly ridiculous. But even though it's so ridiculous, it still hurts. Even if you have like 100 good comments and one bad comment,
Oh yeah,
we
I do the
focus
same
on the
thing.
one bad comment. But
100%.
but before I would just like, honestly, it wouldn't really bother me, to be honest. I'd just be like, whatever, you know.
Mhm.
Like I would almost laugh at it. And a lot of them I do laugh at. I think this is so absurd.
Right.
Um, but then some people can really, hit you. And I tend to first I am like I tend to stew on it a little bit, but I tend to think that this person doesn't know me at all.
Mhm.
They have a image in their head of or whatever of how I may be, but they don't know me. So there's that creates some separation, right? And then it's like this person is really projecting, you know, their pain or hurt or whatever, like onto my story or whatever. And so that's where kind of like the compassion can come in, and just be like, okay. Um, but there's plenty of comments where people say like kind of intense things that are said in a constructive way, and I listen to them. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I got to take a look at that. I think I might have, that's a good point. But the comments that are so out there, it's like the fact that it's just said that way, it's like you already have to just cut it off. And
So true.
sometimes you just have to be like, honestly, like, fuck it.
You're
Like,
right.
and to protect yourself.
Mhm.
But it's just an ongoing process. I feel like social media is such an interesting thing. And it has created so much connection as far, with people, but it's also created an illusion of connection, because if I was a random person and I went on your Instagram and I saw a picture of you and I was like, you're ugly, comment, right? I don't see you. I don't see your reaction. I don't see how that makes you feel. I don't see any of that. Exactly. I can just type that and just be like, ha 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 ha, right? But if I was in front of you and was like, you're ugly, and I saw your face, your expression, how it looked in your eyes, felt your feeling of when you said that, I'm going to be like, ugh, that, like, and because we don't have that, it just allows people just to, do whatever they want and say whatever they want. So I also think about that when I have negative comments. It's like, okay, would you say this to my face? Probably not.
So
so like, just chill out.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Something's going on this year in particular with the negativity. I too have never, I've always gotten negativity, but this is so heightened. And I think people are at home and they're angry and they're lashing out at strangers for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So your words are very helpful for sure.
Yeah. It's just an ongoing, I think it's an ongoing lesson. The great sages and like saints of like India, people that I'm very inspired by, they always talk about being unaffected by praise or blame, right?
Exactly.
Even the praise, exactly. And that's where we can find true equanimity and true joy, and I have met people like that, where they're just so free. They're so in themselves, that you could say whatever you want. You could praise them to be the greatest person in the world. You could say you're the worst person, and they're just so free. They're totally unaffected. But that's a place that I think we just have to work for. And if I can look at this as like an opportunity, right, to further myself on that path, then all good. Keep them coming.
Right. That's true. That's true. I've been trying to do that this year. I've been reading this book called The Daily Stoic, which is all about stoicism, which is that exact philosophy of the praise, the criticism, just not letting it get to you.
Right.
Trying to practice that, because you can get a lot of praise and that it can be easy to feel like you're on top of the world when people love you.
Yeah. But
that's when the negativity really hurts, because if you're taking other people's word so strongly,
right,
of course the negativity is going to hurt just as much as the praise feels good. So that's a good way to look at it, and hard to do.
Very hard to do.
And I can tell you're a sensitive person, probably. You're
too sensitive for my own good.
Same. So another question about the album.
Yeah.
Nothing is capitalized. And I'm curious if that was what kind of intentional choice that was.
I don't know if there was like a deep, thing behind it. It was probably like, I think the last album we did all caps, and I think it was just like, oh, it just looks cool.
It does look cool. I like the way it looks.
It wasn't like like some hidden, mystic thing.
Right.
But it was just like, let's just do lowercase this time.
I like lowercase.
So, yeah, I type in all lowercase anyway now and stuff. So,
I like that.
It was just a decision we made.
Cool. So, do you have like a favorite song across all of your albums, or a favorite album?
Chapter of the Forest the song has always been like a deep, deep song for me, no matter what, if I'm playing it or hearing it, just because it's just about such a powerful place. And that album too has always been kind of like my top album, I guess, for myself. But this one is really kind of making a fight for it. This was the first album. I was talking with Emery the other day that, usually when on release day, it's just crazy, we're trying to post as much as possible and communicate with so many people and get the word out there, blah, blah, blah. Oh, where are the numbers at? Oh, it's at number 10. Oh, is it in the top 10? Oh, it's at number 6. And it's just like your nervous system, like, wow.
Yes.
This was the first album where I was just like, I don't care. I don't care what number it's at. I am so happy with this record and the songs and everything. Like it truly fills my heart so much that I really don't care. And I took that as a good sign. I took that as like, wow, like that must mean you really like this album, you know? So this album's definitely making a fight for it. You know, obviously I think as artists, we always tend to like the newest thing because it's fresh and whatever. But I don't think I'm saying that because of that point. I think truly that this album has been such a joyful experience for me. And I feel like it's my most grounded album in a way. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Do you
Yeah.
think that you'll go on tour for it at some point if you can? Or do you think that ship is going to sail and you're going to have a new album by the time people are performing?
I mean, wow, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think that we'll probably, God willing, be able to tour, you know. As of now, you know, we have dates set up for April and May of next year. I don't know if it will happen then, to be honest, just to be completely realistic. But that doesn't mean we won't tour at all next year if things really get kind of cleaned up. So we're hopeful. And again, we're surrendered and open to anything that happens. Yeah.
Well, I hope you can. I need to come.
I do too.
I hope you can for so many reasons.
Yeah.
So should we get Emery in here? Your beautiful wife.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, beautiful.
Hi.
To have you join us. We were saying Trevor's been on the podcast 3 times now, and we get to have you for the first time. It's so exciting.
I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So you have a couple songs on this album with your husband. What is that like?
Honestly, it happened so organically. I almost didn't think about what it would feel like when the songs came out, because they were just such an intimate, I think, creation between us two. And it wasn't like you're going to be on the album. It was kind of just these songs came out and I just fit into them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
And it almost has hit me now that it's out and people are writing me. I'm like, oh my God, wait, that is kind of a cool thing or a big deal. I'm just I'm just kind of taken by it because it just it was the most natural thing. And it,
sure.
You know, it just...
Yeah, tell them about her. Tell them about how, because that's a good example. How the song came to be.
Trev and I, I'm not really I don't consider myself a singer, but we do a lot of chanting together. Chanting is a part of my practice for sure, but it's a very private and intimate thing. And I'm not the most confident in my voice or whatever, but he spends a lot of time in his studio, and I always come and sit in, and we just shoot ideas around, or he asks me what I think about something. And one day we were so bored, I remember.
Yeah.
And we were just let's just try to make a song together.
The first time we've tried to record something together.
Yeah. And we just sat down and created this little thing that turned into the song Her. But it was just from a moment of boredom and just wanting to be creative together. And it's been amazing to watch, because we've always been creative together, but never with music and in a way of a collaboration.
Right.
And it's been so beautiful to open that doorway, because it's almost for me a deeper insight into his world that I'm always kind of on the periphery of and helping in different areas, but not as much in the music side of things.
Right.
So that's been a beautiful dip in that water, I would say.
For sure.
That is so cool. I'm sure you realized once it was out that it is a big deal. Your name's on Spotify.
She did. She pulled up Spotify. She's like, holy shit, my name's on Spotify.
That was a moment.
That's a huge moment for those of us who are not music artists. That is something you never think you're going to see, probably.
Yeah.
So true.
The songs that you're on are so beautiful. Her and The Old Story.
Yeah.
So is songwriting something that you foresee yourself continuing to kind of do alongside of Trevor?
I don't know. That's so interesting because I'm more of like I guess I've never really done songwriting. I'm a writer, but I write stories and poetry, but that would be kind of cool to do something like more.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm sure it's in the future. This was a big step for me, I guess, with singing on the tracks and then going on stage recently at his live stream. And I feel like now the doorway's just been opened and I'm totally surrendered to where it goes or where it doesn't go because it's just, creation for the sake of creation. And it's such a beautiful thing to get to share with somebody you love. So if he'll have me, maybe I can, spit a few lines.
Yes. I know. It was so cool to see you guys on stage together. That was so beautiful.
That was a moment.
That was a moment for sure.
Were you nervous?
Oh my God, yeah. And it was so funny because I was like, I've totally manipulated the situation where the first time I go on stage, of course, there's like 5 people in the venue.
That's literally perfect.
I was like, this is the perfect like entry into going on stage. But even still then, I was so nervous. Like anticipation for me is so hard. And I was just like, oh my God, just breathe. And then something happened and I got up there and I was like, because Trev was just saying like before the live stream, just like, if you get nervous, just look at me. Like, I got you. And he was so good in that way. And I felt like, honestly, the whole room disappeared in that moment that I was on stage. And it was like just him and me. And I had no nerves whatsoever. And I was flying after. We were like...
Yeah, it was definitely a moment afterwards. We were just like, I even the next song on the live stream, I was just kind of like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna play another song. I was still trying to like find my words, but It was such a sweet moment for us.
That is so special and so cool. I hope that you guys can, when you go on tour next year, that becomes a thing. And I think
for sure. I don't want her to steal the show, though. I need the spotlight.
We actually might.
It's going to be Emery Hall featuring Trevor Hall.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Exactly. It's so fun. It's so cool that you guys are doing that together. And like you said, it's just so fun to create things for the sake of creation with the person that you love. There is nothing more special.
So true. Yeah. So true.
We looked up Trevor's human design while you were in the other room.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's really really spot on.
Wait, tell me.
Okay, so he is
yours too.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, do we not know yours? Okay, we're going to look you up. So Trevor is a generator. And do you know about human design?
Yes. Okay. I think someone did it on my last trip to Nepal. I think I'm a generator.
Should we look you up?
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, we have to look you up. It's so fun. So Trevor is a generator with emotional authority, which means he makes decisions based off of his emotions. He's a cave person, which means
what is that?
Basically, like that's where he thrives. Like to go into a cave, which can be like the home, or it can be a social setting where you kind of pick who you're with. Like think
about like at the house.
Yeah, he like holes up in his studio. Yeah. This is like where he lives.
And he's a hot food person, which we realized.
Oh my God, to get the man to eat fruit or a salad is like pulling teeth.
Yeah, so that's why human design is so spot on. Okay, so
that's so cool.
Yeah, so tell me your birthday and everything, and we'll look you up.
Okay, I was born on June 28th. Do you need the year?
The year.
1990.
Ooh, just like me.
Hey.
90, babe.
We're almost on our Saturn return.
I know, thankfully.
Thank God.
It's been crazy. Wait, June 28th is what you said? So you're both born on the 28th of a month.
Yeah.
That's cool. Time?
4 p.m. on the dot.
Okay, 4 p.m., which is, is that 16 in the 24-hour clock?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then location?
Greenwich, Connecticut. We were born in the same hospital.
What? And you guys know each other? Wait, that's so crazy.
I know.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
You guys have some distinct similarities.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what just happened? You are a projector.
projector. That's what it was.
You're a projector.
I totally see. And you're emotional authority as well.
Yes.
You're a 4/6, just like me, which when the number stuff, there's so much detail there, but 4/6s, we're very special people. Your environment is shores, which is melting pots, places where multiple different elements or cultures come together.
Oh my God.
I feel like that is so you.
That's my heart. That's what I live for.
Yes. Your digestion is closed taste. I actually don't know what that means. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, we'll look that up.
My friend Jenna, she's a human design reader. This is her website, and she's like, I can ask her what closed taste means. But projector means you are a super sensitive being. You are a non-energy being, which is what it's called. It doesn't mean that you don't have energy, because you definitely do. But the non-energy types of beings, which is also what I am, we thrive off of being around people like Trevor, who are generators, who generate the energy, and we can like ride that wave with them. But we need a lot of alone time. Do you like recharge alone? That kind of thing. Projectors thrive off of working for like 3 to 4 hours a day, but lots of downtime. We are not the type that thrives with like working for 12 hours straight, where Trevor could probably just like record an album all day, all night. Like you're in it. But we are like, okay, I'll write for a few hours and I'll do this. And that's actually how you're the most successful.
That's really interesting.
Isn't that true?
Yeah, it's so true. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You're such a projector. I have a lot of projectors in my life and a lot of generators, actually. They go really well together. Those two.
So cool.
That's so cool.
So cool. I love that.
Yeah.
We have to look more into that.
Yeah, I want to know.
I'll send you guys. I have both your charts up right here, because there's like so much you can dive into with it. This is just totally scratching the surface.
So cool.
Yeah, it's so fun. I love that so much. I'm obsessed.
Her husband is the same as me, and you're the same as her.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
Yes, and it doesn't surprise me at all, because it's such a perfect combination. It's so cool. So I want to ask you guys together a couple of the rapid fires that I ask everyone, and this will be fun because you can both answer. But first, because I don't usually have couples on, and it's so fun to have you guys on together, I wanted you to each describe the other in 3 words.
Intense,
Mm-hmm.
Nurturing, and pure.
Beautiful.
I would say devoted, sensitive, and funny.
Oh, I like that.
Those are good. Those are all like very original. You guys are good with that. Where do you guys see yourself in 5 years?
I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going to be in 5 minutes.
I think both of us are very much, actually, Krista makes a lot of fun of us because Krista's such a planner, and we're always like, oh, we'll just like catch a vibe, you know? And
Yes.
she's kind of taken that phrase and it's like made fun of us. Like, are you guys just going to catch a vibe? But we are really like kind of go with the flow people. We don't really like to make hard commitments. So it's like, I don't know how far ahead we think generally, but I hope that in 5 years, you know, we'll still be able to have the opportunity to be doing the things we love, you know, making art and raising a family, hopefully, and being able to spend time in the places that are so dear to our hearts, India and Nepal, and just kind of a continuation, hopefully, you know, a continuation of the growth of where we're at now. Yeah.
Well said.
Beautiful. I'm like you. I'm all about catching the vibe.
Yeah.
The opposite of Krista, but that's why it's so good to have someone like that in our lives.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. She definitely keeps us on our toes.
Yeah.
What are your sun, rising, and moon signs?
I'm a Cancer sun, Scorpio rising, Virgo moon.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, I am a Sagittarius sun, a Libra moon, and a Sagittarius rising.
Ooh.
Double Sag on my
Double
hands.
Sag.
Double Sag. That's a lot. I remember talking about that when you came on with Deb. We talked all about the double Sag, Libra moon. I love it. You guys are balanced together. Very different signs from each other all the way.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. Who is your inspiration?
I don't know. Who are you going to say between this one?
Oh, man. I was just going to say, like, the Divine Mother really is everything. Kind of the root, the seed, the flower, the tree, the process, the end goal. It's kind of how I live my life, as a family man, as a partner. It's just everything. Yeah, that's mine. It's not, I know it's not an actual physical person, but I think that'd have to be my or I'd say Ushama.
Ushama.
Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. I don't know if that's a cop-out, but the divine, just in general, and then as it's expressed in so many different beings that I learn from living and non-living, I love those pieces of them, whether it's Neem Karoli Baba or Sri Sharada Devi or Ananda Mahima. It's the divine that's expressed through them. So it's almost like it's not even a person. It's just this river that flows through all of us. And when you see those glimpses of it in these beings, that's, what I'm addicted to, I guess, and where I always want to be seated. So it's just,
that's beautiful. That needs to be written down somewhere.
I know, she's a writer. God, so annoying.
So eloquent. Both of you. You guys are so eloquent. Are you guys night people or morning people?
Night people, for sure. We both.
It's really interesting because I've always been such a night owl. I think just because of my job as well. It always keeps me up late. So then when I'm home, I'm naturally I love the night. But ever since we got Kahlo, our pup, I've been such a morning person because he wakes me up at the crack of dawn. Right. And I've really grown to really love the early mornings. So, but I think at heart, I think both of us are 100%. Quite night people. Yeah.
We both get really creative at night. Morning is quiet and sacred, but night is sacred and creative.
Yeah.
It's there's an energy at night.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's nice that you're both that way. I'm definitely that way, but a lot of people are morning people, and it can be hard to stick with what works for you when the whole world is morning and daytime.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
I really love them both, and it's kind of in India, it's they are up so early, and then they do a lot of people are out at night, but in the day people kind of chill. After lunch there's a huge rest period. The shops close.
Yeah, siesta.
So it's you find that in a lot of cultures, Spanish culture, European culture. But somehow in the U.S., it's go, 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 go.
24 hours a day.
Right. Yeah. I know. It's pretty crazy the way we live here. But to bring more of that into our world is so important.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then I know we talked about this when Trevor was on a few years ago, but I do want to hear the story of how you guys met. Because I think it's so fun to learn that about people.
Well, Trevor is the true storyteller in this marriage. You're you've got it down to a script. You're so good at it.
Okay.
Do you want to tell?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I mean, you can add any details I'm missing. I actually met her family first, really, because her mom and dad and her sisters were all fans of my music. While we were touring, we were raising money for our ashram in India that takes care of a lot of underprivileged children. And her family was always very supportive and donating funds. So as a result, we exchanged contacts because it's the details of where to send money and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I was in communication with her mom. And then one time at a concert or something, she was like, "Oh, my daughter's, going going to India, she should come to the ashram, you know? And I was like, oh yeah, of course, like that'd be amazing. But like, I really didn't think that would actually happen just because India is so big and like, you don't know where the other person is. And like our ashram's kind of in a very like off the Western, you know, track.
And you only went once a year too.
Yeah. And I only went once a year. So it's like, are you going to be there at the same time? Like whatever. And, but sure enough, long story short, she was studying there and she emailed me and she said, oh, I'm in Benares, which is only like a 3-hour bus ride from where I was. I thought, oh, that's far out, you know? But I didn't really, this is the part of the story I ignored the first email because I had never had anybody come and visit the ashram, right? And I was kind of protective of it. Like it was like my place to go, you know, to disappear and, you know, and it was very sacred. So I originally thought, oh, I don't really know this person. Like, is it going to be strange or like whatever? I just didn't know. So I just kind of like ignored the first email.
This is your future wife.
Yeah. I had no idea, right?
Funny.
So then she ends up writing one more time saying, again, I'm in this place. And if she was very polite and was like, I can just come for the day and leave. And I don't want to be a burden and all this stuff. And you know, I could sense the sincerity in her words. And I was like, I'm going to ask Guruji. Like, if Guruji says yes, then it's all G, of course. And so I asked him and he said, absolutely, she must come. You know, she's supported our children. She must come. So I said, okay. So I wrote her and said that Guruji's, you know, asked you to come. It's all good. And she ended up taking a train to Allahabad and she was there for a few days, you know, but
Wait, I have to interject because this is the best part of the story. So I show up on this train to this, like, the middle of the city.
You're really going to go.
I mean, there was... oh, God. And, like, I don't even know what I was expecting, but I, like, left my group and I was planning on just spending one night there because the trains, it's just, like, with the scheduling, I couldn't do it in one day. And I ended up showing up at the train station in Allahabad where ashram is, and this like car filled with monks and Trevor just like roll up to the curb, and I'm just standing there, and Trevor gets out and just like is like, hey, I'm so glad you're here, I gotta run, and just like ran past me.
So side note, I was literally about to poop my pants. I had serious belly.
Uh-huh.
I was feeling so sick, and I was like, literally in the car on the way there, I was like, I'm gonna shit my pants, and this like new person's gonna come here. So I like popped out of the car and saw her. I was like, welcome, I'll be right back.
His eyes were like bugging, and he like ran past me, and I was like, that was really interesting, but whatever, I'm just gonna like hop in the car with the monks. So I like got in the car and we're all waiting for him, and this beautiful monk who ended up being present for our engagement ceremony a year later, he turned around from the front seat to me and said, how long are you staying for? And I said, I can only stay one night, you know. And he said, oh, well, let me see your ticket. And I was like, okay. So I like handed him my train ticket, and he ripped it in half. And he threw it out the window, and he said, no, you're staying much longer. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So I ended up staying for, I think, 3 days. Yeah. And it was, I mean, we barely even talked, which is so funny. Everybody asked like, oh, was it like love at first sight, or like, what did you, and I was just so taken by the ashram and by Guruji and I was so lucky because the kids all come from, a lot of them are orphaned, and they come from Assam, which is a region of India where they actually speak Nepali. And for me, having like grown up or spent the past few years in Nepal, I could speak to them. And Guruji spoke a little Nepali, so that language barrier wasn't there. And I just truly fell in love with the place. It was like what I was seeking truly when I went to India, which was just like the real thing. And I was like, oh man, Trevor's found this. Like, this is real. This is raw. This is it. And I melted. I mean, my whole life changed. I met Trevor and I met the man that would become my guru too. And the ashram that would become this like kind of seat of my spiritual heart. So it almost had nothing to do with us in a way.
True.
And had everything to do with, like, as we always say, the meeting of the rivers. Like, so much happened in that meeting beyond just our marriage, I think.
That is so beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it's such a good story. That's so much cooler than how a lot of people meet. Really cool. And it's so clear that you guys are like so meant to be together, total soulmates. It's so special.
Oh, thank you.
He's a good one.
Drives me crazy, but it's all love.
Well, that's what love is. Like, if you're not driving the person you love crazy, then what's...
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
Totally. Oh, well, this is so fun. I could talk to you guys forever.
Yeah, we feel like you're family, and we know you as a sister. So it's just great to connect again during these times of quarantine, And
I feel the same way. And like I was telling you at the beginning, my 14-year-old self would have died because I was listening to Trevor's music in the yoga studio when I was a kid and a young teenager, and was just the biggest fan ever. And so to get to know you guys is so special.
Oh yeah, it's a treat for us as well, for sure.
Yeah.
So cool. So tell everybody where they can find you both.
You go ahead, sweetie.
Well, my work is on my website, emeryhall.com, and my Instagram, Emery Hall. That's kind of where it all lives. And Mr. T Hall over here is at trevorhallmusic.com and Trevor Hall Music on Instagram. And
Spotify, you're both on Spotify.
We're both on Spotify now. Spotify. Emery Hall, you can search her, pull up her songs. But yeah, the new album In and Through the Body is out on all platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, the whole thing. And that's what, that's been our big focus now. And we're just grateful to be able to release something during this time.
So cool. Well, we are all grateful to hear it. It's so
very grateful. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this fun episode with Trevor and Emery. I loved talking to them about what it's like being together, what they love about each other. We go into some personal questions. It's so fun. I loved hearing about Trevor's creative process, what it was like for Emery to be featured on his songs for the first time ever. And they're just the coolest couple. They're some of the coolest people, most down-to-earth people I have ever met. And like I said, they feel like soul family to me. So if you have not already listened to In and Through the Body on Spotify or wherever you like to listen to music, check it out. Show Trevor some love. Find Trevor and Emery on Instagram. Tell them that you listen to this podcast. Tell them how awesome they are. We love them. If you feel inspired to rate and review the show on iTunes, please do so, and I will send you a free gift. Just email me a screenshot to jordan@thebalancedblonde.com. And lastly, thank you to our 2 new sponsors who I'm so excited about and truly obsessed with. One of them is the healthy soda alternative, Olipop, where you can go to drinkolipop.com/blonde for 20% off plus free shipping. And the other is Function of Beauty, the customized hair care brand with over 40,000 real 5-star reviews. And they make the cutest customized branding. You can put your name on your shampoo and conditioner. It's so fun. And there, you can also go to functionofbeauty.com/blonde for 20% off. And I'm so excited about those sponsors. I'm super picky with my sponsors, as you guys know. So every time I talk about a brand, it means that I truly love it and I'm truly using it and I'm truly obsessed. And every time you guys order, it supports the show. And also, these are like fabulous products that I highly recommend. So check them out. I hope everybody's having a soul on fire day, and whatever you want in your life, you can call it into truth and into happening. So I wanted to meet Trevor and to have Trevor on the podcast. And now I have the pleasure of knowing Trevor, having had him on the show many times and to have him in my life and his beautiful wife, Emery. So life is a beautiful thing. You're always going to meet who you're meant to meet, and following your heart and your intuition is the way to do that. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Hope everybody has the best day. Mwah! Sending you so much love.